Let us honor this west wind spirit by noticing the air we are breathing in and out, by inviting that air deep inside of us, and with it, the spirit the wild west wind carries, blowing across the Salish Sea, bringing both cold air and salty spray into our bodies. Follow your breath down into your lungs, down into your belly, as the air blows in and out again. Welcome, west wind. Now imagine the leaf, anchored steady to the branch, the home it has always known. And around the leaf, that wild west wind roars and groans and whips raindrops until one day, when the nights have grown longer than the days, the tree lets go and the leaf is carried up into the wind where it rests. Can you imagine yourself as that leaf, being carried, swirled, and lifted, invisibly floated and held? The leaf has no say in where it is going, and yet it has no fear, no anticipation. All has changed, and the leaf floats in the very winds of change, carried alongside the seed. When the wind leaves the leaf to rest on the earth, the leaf becomes earth, becomes food for invertebrates, fungi, and bacteria, becomes soil to anchor the seed. Can you imagine its journey? Like the leaf, the seed is carried on the wind, and like the leaf transformed in the earth, but where the leaf has gone from alive to inert, the seed, when the wind leaves it to rest on the earth, will turn from inert to alive, and so the wheel turns, and the balance is kept. Take a moment in silence to imagine yourself as the leaf or as the seed, held, floating, carried on the wild west winds of fall, knowing that wherever and however the wind blows, you are safe. You are being taken to exactly where you need to be, supported by the strong wind. Let's imagine ourselves as we drift. And having rested on the wind, having trusted the wind to carry you, you the leaf, or you the seed, you come to stillness now as the wind leaves you to rest on the body of the Mother Earth, where you will be transformed. Let us engage now in a practice of welcoming the opposite sides of a single whole truth. First, notice this truth. You are living. Say to yourself, I am living. What images, sensations, or memories come to mind as you think to yourself the truth, I am living? Now, another truth to hold. You are dying. Every day we live brings us closer to the day of our death. So you can say to yourself, I am dying. And it's true. What images, sensations, memories, or emotions come to mind as you think to yourself the truth? I am dying. If you find these musings take you too deep into your own depths, please simply return your focus to your breath, in and out. Let the ideas go. And now, here are both truths together. You are living and you are dying. Both are true. What images, sensations, memories, or emotions come to mind as you sit with the truth that you are both living and dying? Finally, can you entertain the idea that you are neither living nor dying? What would that mean? We are made up of atoms, and those are not alive. The pieces of us will endure in the universe for as long as it is. So perhaps it is true that we are neither living nor dying. Take a moment to sit with that. See what thoughts or emotions arise in you as you consider the idea that perhaps you are neither living nor dying. I woke up this morning to one of my very favorite sounds in the whole world: rain on the skylight. In fact, I opened the window and I lingered in bed a little longer, just to appreciate that music, the rain. Then I remembered that Peter and I had made a plan to pick blackberries and apples at the church to decorate our altar, and I realized that would be a much wetter experience than I had been planning on having this morning. So both and, right? I'm so grateful for that nourishing rain that falls, that fills the streams, washes down to the sea. And I'm a little disappointed that means I'm going to have to bring my home office inside. I can't take my computer for my work days out between the trees next to the creek. Not without risking my computer anyway. Both and. I thought that this autumn equinox would be a really great time to bring this idea of non-duality that I'm learning about in my most recent continuing education course, Pathways for Liberation, an Introduction to Buddhism. So our meditation, that last one that we did, considering living and dying and both and neither, that is adapted from a Buddhist thought exercise, the tetralemma. Let's think about blackberries. The tetralemma, it makes sense to me with blackberries. I love blackberries. Blackberries are so good. I've been picking blackberries with my dad on the southern banks of the Salish Sea since I was a little girl. My eldest daughter's very first memory is of a pie I made out of blackberries we picked with her grandpa when she was 2 years old. Blackberries are so good, and I love them so much. And Himalayan blackberries are an invasive species. They do not belong here. They are choking out the native creeping blackberries and all manner of other native plants that should be in our forests. If I got to choose, I would choose not to have Himalayan blackberries. I would choose for this ecosystem to be in the balance that it evolved for since time immemorial. Blackberries are bad. So the truth. Blackberries are both good and bad. right? Undeniable. But then again, those blackberries, they're just doing what they've evolved to do over time, right? They're neither good nor bad. They're just living. So here's our tetralemma. The blackberries are good. That's the first part. The blackberries are bad. That's the second part. The blackberries are both good and bad. The third. And the fourth, they are neither good nor bad. Makes total sense to me when we're talking about blackberries. But my Zazen teacher, Tyson Casey, asks us to apply this tetralemma not just to blackberries, but to questions like, am I human? Is matter solid? As I consider these things, my brain starts spinning, and then I discover that I have room to hold both. So as I lay in my bed listening to the beautiful sound of rain on my skylight, I knew that there are those among us, those in our community, for whom the shortening days actually kick in a physiologic response that makes it hard for us to get out of bed, hard for us to feel joy, right? The rain is both nourishing, healing, necessary for the salmon, necessary for the mushrooms that are about to start sprouting in fairy rings everywhere we look. The rain is necessary. And for some people, these long months of short, rainy days, they're hard, right? We need to be able to hold both, not just when we're thinking about things intellectually, but when we're talking about our own feelings, right? We need to have spaces where our sorrows are acknowledged, welcome, held. Today, I've got our grief garden rocks out there. If you are feeling grief in your heart, if you look around at the world and your heart is heavy and you want to put that grief into a stone, please go paint a rock out there. We can place it in our grief garden, which we began just about a year ago, because the earth can hold our griefs, right? We've got to make time to feel those griefs. But for those of us who feel like we are buckling under the weight of our grief, the pain in our body, in our families, our community, our world, we have to make time to feel the joy. We have to find ways, right? The earth offers us incredible bounty. Crunch a crispy apple. Look for the tiny mushrooms in the moss on the side of the tree. Share those beautiful joys with the other people around you and watch them grow. Because here's the truth. There is reason to despair. And there is reason to hope. There is reason both to hope and to despair. And there is reason to neither hope nor despair. In this moment of balance, when day and night are equal, may we find ways to release the false duality of binaries that say there can be only one or another, and instead embrace the larger truth that the tetralemma leads us to. Light and dark, day and night, joy and sorrow, hope and despair, they are all pieces of a whole truth. May we live in that whole, in balance. May we open up our arms, let the rain fall on our faces, and embrace the weeping sky. And then may we snuggle into a warm towel, a warm robe, and a nice hot cup of tea. All the blessings of fall, my friends. So may it be.